I'm Dan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is Bourbon Sauce. Welcome back. We have a Christmas special for you folks today. We brought in a special guest, music artist Jessie G. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, pretty exciting news. You just were a couple weeks ago at the Green Bay game singing the National Anthem for your third time.
Yeah, this was a big one, though. This was the Thanksgiving game. So, man, that's like maybe the second most watched outside of the Super Bowl for NFL anthems. So I was pretty nervous about this one. It felt way different. We were on the field, on the little stage, and NBC aired it, which I know you guys know that there was, a whole ordeal for a while of not airing anthems.
Right.
And so just the fact that they wanted to air it, they didn't even air the halftime show. So for me, that was like, whoa, they're getting behind me 100%. And I don't know if that's because country's cool again or what's going on. But yeah, I was pretty excited. It was awesome.
Yeah, we're here for that for sure. Being patriots ourselves, we love hearing people do a very, very fantastic job of the national anthem. So I know you got to hear a preview before at the golf tournament.
Yeah, so at the Soda Golf Scramble, since you couldn't be there, me and Andy co-chaired the golf scramble, and she popped in to talk with us and then surprised us with a little rendition. So that was pretty awesome.
A whiskey-fueled rendition.
Yes, it was. There was whiskey fueled there.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and speaking of whiskey, you have that great song that everybody knows about, the whiskey. You like your men like you like your whiskey.
That's right.
And that's been pretty popular. And you've also sung with music Grammy Award winning Gretchen Wilson. How cool is that?
Man, she's my country music hero. So for me, it was a bucket list moment. I mean, I'm grateful because she was just an acquaintance I met through an opportunity on the road. And then she's now one of my best friends, and she's the godmother to my child. So it's crazy the way life, manifestation, God, whatever you want to believe in,
right.
The way it works out. But she was the person that when I was growing up, I wanted to sing her songs. I wanted to be like her because she was that gritty, edgy, strong woman that would sing stuff a man would sing, but just replace the he's with she's,
Right.
So for me personally, that was like, I remember showing my aunt built websites when I was younger. And when I finally was like, hey, I want to take this singing thing a little more seriously right into high school time frame, because I was winning all these competitions. And I'm like, well, I think, I might want to do this for a living. Maybe this would work out. So I remember building a website for myself, and my aunt was helping me because she builds websites. And she was like, well, whose website do you want it to be like? And I was like, Gretchen Wilson. So it's just crazy, man. It's crazy the way life works. And, whether we put it out there and it comes back to us if we live a good life, I don't know how it works, but I feel very blessed and grateful.
No, it sounds like you've had a very good blessing in your life. Speaking of blessings and whiskey, we normally drink with our guests. So we're going to pour ourselves something. And I guess you can't. Is that true?
The whiskey girl can't drink. What? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm 4 months pregnant.
Congratulations on that. I bet you your husband is ecstatic with that.
He is. He's super excited. We're really excited just to, cheers, guys.
Cheers to your newfound family member.
Yeah, I got a turkey. We took a picture at the actual, which I think we're going to talk about this a little later, but the NFL game, I took a picture with my hands around my belly to show for the release. Yeah. And I was going to put a little turkey and be like, I got a turkey bacon in the oven.
That would have been really cool. You know what I mean? Get like a t-shirt that's got a turkey on there.
I should have done that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a nice way to do a reveal for everybody.
Yeah. Whose jacket were you wearing?
Okay, so crazy story. I picked out that jacket from a friend, Holly Stocks, who's a Nashville Western supermodel. She has like millions of followers. She's the hottest chick in the world. But she's my friend, and she dressed me. She styled me for the game.
Okay.
And I saw that jacket in her closet, and I was like, that jacket is everything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to buy it because, that jacket's just amazing. Anyway, so after the fact, her fiance is Darren Blue from Country Rebel, who you guys probably know very well.
Yeah.
Yes. And Darren sent me a picture of Lee Greenwood wearing the jacket.
No way.
And I don't know, because they're really close with him. I don't know if that's his jacket or if it's
like a replica.
Because it's a big jacket. It's a man's jacket.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is there something they didn't tell me because they didn't want me to be like extra nervous on top of everything? I'm going to get down to it.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing if that really is Lee Greenwood's jacket. You know what I mean? Like, how iconic is that?
Who knows?
It's
maybe
probably
he'll
not,
comment.
But yeah, it's probably not. But anyway, I posted a side-by-side because it is the same exact jacket, probably the same size. And I posted a side-by-side of me and him being like, hey, Lee, thanks for letting me borrow your jacket. JK. I don't know for sure, but made for good titles. So.
It makes you wonder because those wardrobe artists sometimes have multiples of the same one just for fitment or, to see if maybe this size didn't work. This size is a plus size or whatever direction they go. So maybe he tried it on. You never know.
And she's like the biggest model in Nashville. So I'm like, it'd be very likely that something like that would happen for them. So
that's such a wild story.
But that jacket is amazing, and I'm going to try to keep it.
Yeah, that's iconic if it is, truly is. That just means like your rising star is just going to keep, that trajectory. All these fun stories that kind of go behind your emerging artists. You're singing with Gretchen Wilson. You've gotten to be with Daughtry and some of these other people. Leonard Skinner.
Oh man, that was the coolest tour. I mean, my tours with Gretchen by far the coolest. I can't, she's the best. I can't say anything. Like, she's number one for sure.
Yeah.
But second to her was Leonard Skinner. I got to go on the road with them in Vegas.
What?
And their tour manager stepped in and tour managed me and stuff. And it was like, I was a part of the family, and they were so cool. And man, it was just like, is this real?
Right.
Is this real life? That was pretty awesome.
So the fact that NBC aired the National Anthem this year, how have you seen how much that's impacted your social media and people Google searching you, the Googling?
The Googling.
Yes.
Yeah. There definitely is an impact. Everything is so spread out nowadays that the impact is all spread out. It's like you have some TikTokers, you have some Instagrammers, you have some YouTubers. So it's not like all those millions got drawn to one place.
Yeah.
It was like they just followed me on their platform of their choice, and that's okay. Like, whatever they want to do. I'm still telling you to this day, I have a great app idea that I'm eventually going to make happen.
Ooh.
That's going to eliminate that problem for artists.
Okay.
I'm just saying, one day I'm going to make it happen. Maybe all of us will make it happen.
Yeah, you never know. We'll be down to help.
But it's crazy though, because artists are so focused on numbers and, and I'm sure that translates in your field too with podcasts. But it's one of those things, like, you are reaching so much more than you realize. And I'm always having faith. Like, I know that I think the viewership for that night was over 23 million on NBC alone. Yeah. And then that's not even counting all the social media and, all the local channels that just source from NBC, all those stuff. So I'm sure it was in the mid,
That's like a pay-per-view numbers, you know what I mean? That's a lot.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Turkey Day, primetime football is, like she was saying, it is the only day that outshines it is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And maybe the college
playoff championship
for college.
And the World Series, like the big events,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, those ones for sure would be more. I remember watching, though, Aretha Franklin singing on Thanksgiving Day, was that 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy to think that I somewhat followed that up. I'm like, oh, it's such a bucket list moment.
So not only are you a badass musician, but you're a badass wife to a badass American.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about who your husband is and why you're tied in? Why our paths basically crossed?
Yeah. Well, we met through the Green Beret Foundation, Rock the Green Beret. I think we also met through SODIF too, both amazing charities. These charities were huge. Also, Special Ops Excursions was huge for us when we were transitioning from a military family to the civilian world, which you guys, know
Right.
very, very well. It's a big change, and for my husband mostly, but for me too. You have this support system, you have this routine and this way of life that you count on and well and all that. And then these stressors too, and all these things, these ups and downs that you're kind of just used to. And then you get taken out of that world, and it's a big change. So personally, all those nonprofit charities helped us and our family tremendously. They helped my husband build his resume. They helped him with his VA stuff. They helped him every step of the way. They helped him. That to me, I am forever grateful, and I will do all that I can whenever I can, for them, to help the other families, because I've seen them directly impact our lives and other lives. So, and my husband served at 7th Group Special Forces in Destin. We lived in Destin, Florida.
Beautiful
I know
area.
it's like, oh my gosh, I love it. We actually held on to our condo because we love it so much. If Nashville's a little closer, I'd probably just live there full time.
Right. Yeah.
We always decide to go down there during the fall time because the weather is perfect and tourists don't really know where they don't go.
Yeah.
And so we try to go down there mostly during those months, and even Christmas. We spend a lot of Christmases down there. But yeah, we were down there for since 2020, right when things were kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we were on a beach during it.
Right.
And we spent, 4 years or, 3.5 years down there. And he got to a point where he had to make the decision. It was either his career or mine. And I feel so grateful and blessed that he, man, I followed him around. I did the Nashville to Bragg drive.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, every other week.
That's brutal.
That is it was like a 9.5 through the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drive. My transmission dropped out of my car. It was so bad for my car.
Yeah.
But I did that drive every single week just because, he was going through, you guys know, the Q course and all that stuff. Like, it was just crazy. And I was going through my own craziness of music, whatever that version is, but the music side of it. And we just had to make it work. And to make it work, I felt like I had to be there all the time, and which probably annoyed the crap out of his roommates. But, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on anything because that was such a huge part of his career.
For sure.
But you can't, man, it's so hard. Like, I had to sacrifice so many things. Like, I'd be in North Carolina and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just missed out on this red carpet event or a release party or this or that. And so there comes that crossroad where you choose military spouse life or you choose your career life. And then we had a kid, and then having baby number one was like, he deployed 2 weeks after she was born. And I was like, wow, thank God I have a great mom that came to the rescue.
That's where you need that support system for sure.
For sure. And, we bring her on the road, man.
That's cool.
We load up the dogs and the baby quite a bit.
That's
You'd be
awesome.
surprised. My bandmates are champs.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love them. They're just like, okay, I guess I'll sit in between your two dogs.
Yeah. And that's probably something, that you learn to deal with in the military spouse life, and just in the military in general, is all those stressors, you know what I mean? All these different wrinkles that you have, adversities that you have to face and you have to kind of overcome. And, no different for you now being a full-time musician, and your husband is your booking agent.
Yeah, he's a tour manager.
How cool.
Yeah.
What a transition that is.
So not only is he the tour manager, right? But she has one of the probably most highly qualified single security personnel, right?
Oh, yeah,
she
for
has
sure.
her own personal security detail.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, some of our buddies are like doing security for like Eric Church, Meg Rooney, like all these
Yeah.
country stars. And it's hilarious because I'm like, I got that for free.
Yeah. You're like, yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking. That's some big ticket expense right there.
Oh, for sure.
And,
Oh, my
and she
gosh.
she gets it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like, man, he's like, I like to call him a bull in a china shop. He's just, I mean, you guys are a special breed. So
He's
I'm like, bringing him and dropping him in the music world was like, I had to daily be like, you can't say that. You can't email that. You can't do that. And then, of course, on his emails, you know, he's got his little cool military thing at the bottom. And I'm like, you can do that, though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, people will love that. The F word's still a verb, a noun, an adjective. All
It
you know,
always will be. It always will be,
yeah.
unfortunately. And your kids are going to pick it up whether you want them to or not.
it's kind of one of those things. You have a 2-minute conversation. By the time that 2-minute conversation's done, you're like, well, that certainly expresses the diversity of the word.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. Actually, like he always felt like he related better with his enlisted soldiers, and so I feel like he's like that middle of the, I don't know, the spectrum, whatever you call it. I don't know.
Speaking of cussing, like, you know, sailors, that's kind of in your family background growing up in
Hey,
Oregon.
good. Wow, nice pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in my parents' house. This is my old band room, by
No
the way. I don't
kidding.
know if you can see all the music crap, the lights,
Okay,
everything. But yeah, so I'm from a little tiny town in Brookings, Oregon. And I'm from a fishing town. If you're from here, all you do is fish, you work at the mill, or you work as a prison guard 30 minutes in California.
Okay.
There at Pelican
Very
Bay
hardworking
State
people.
Prison. Very blue collar town. I grew up 4 generations of commercial fishermen, so very proud. It's part of, it's just in my blood. We're actually going right after this. The boys said they'd hold the boat for me
Cool.
to take me crabbing. Yeah, we're going to check out the pots.
That answers my
today.
next question.
Yes,
I was
the
going to
next-
ask, what
yeah.
season is it?
Yeah, crab season. The pots right now are soaking. It's just, you're allowed to sport crab right now to check on how the crab are doing.
Yeah.
Check on them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna eat them too.
Right.
But it's one of those things like I grew up feast or famine, hardcore lifestyle, much like the military. I will say, very paralleled lifestyle things. You know, when my dad left when I was a kid, I didn't know where he was, how he was, until we get the binoculars out every night and finally see his lights on his boat coming back in to cross the bar. So for me, like growing up like that, I think it really prepared me and gave me that thick skin that it took to eventually be a military spouse. Yeah, we fish crab, tuna, salmon, halibut, a lot of cod, that kind of, you know, special fisheries too. And we have 2 boats now. So we have like a little mini fleet, I like to say. My dad's like, okay, you can call it that, whatever. And we have a restaurant too.
It's Jenny 1 and Jenny 2.
Yeah.
All the Jennies. Yeah.
I tried to get him to buy a shrimp boat. And I was like, why? You know, and he's like, there's just so much more that would go into that because we've never been at shrimpers. And he did it when he was like, yeah, my dad did it when he was younger, like when I was little, but he never took to that much.
You're just
But
setting me
crab.
up.
For what?
She's just continuously setting me up because now all I'm thinking about is you got boiled shrimp, you got shrimp cocktail, you got shrimp scampi, shrimp
Bubba
jambalaya.
Gump. Yeah. Well,
So what's the name of this restaurant?
Catalyst Seafood. So if you ever come to the Oregon coast and you drive the 101 or even Northern California, we're like right across the border. We're the first town in Oregon.
So
If you
go ahead.
Oh yeah, if you go the 101 and just go toward the water, you'll see Catalyst Seafood. That's our restaurant.
So it's basically seat to table with you all?
Yep, dock to dish, seat to table, however you want
ooh,
to say
dock
it.
to
Dock
dish.
to dish. I like that.
That's a good one.
That's
I've
a
never
good
heard
one.
that.
You should put that on a T-shirt.
You should absolutely.
Yeah.
That should be in your
available-
restaurant
yes,
for
it should
sure.
be available in your restaurant.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
They should add that to the merch.
Yeah,
See?
that
That'd be
was
cool.
that was slick.
Yeah, it's cool, man. There's no one here that does it like that, and it's a bunch of small little towns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where y'all are from, but where I'm from, it's like little town,
Yeah.
30 minutes of nothing. Little town, 30 minutes of nothing. Little
Yeah.
town. So growing up, sports, like you were driving 4.5 hours to get to
Wow.
a big school to play a team that was worth anything, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
So I gotta ask
Yeah.
this. It's been bugging me. So who is your NFL team?
Oh, yeah, I see.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I like how you leaned back before you said that. You see what's behind you, right?
Oh, that's my dad.
Uh-huh.
It's a family rivalry.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because we're going to get a lot of hate comments of
Yeah,
like,
for
how
sure.
you sporting that in the background if you a Green Bay Packers
Oh my
fan?
God. Okay, I'm at my parents' house, guys. I'm sorry. Should I go take it down real quick?
No, leave it. It's good for discussion.
Oh, yes.
That's
I'm
perfect.
gonna place my head directly.
No,
in front
leave it.
of
It's
this.
great.
I
It's
thought that's
good
why.
for-
I thought that's why she leaned back all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like to block it.
She did kind of intentionally.
Yeah.
How did you guys
Yeah.
get that in for the Packers? Like, is that a family friend or how did that even happen to be able to go on there and sing the national anthem?
Yeah, I mean, the first one I ever sang was in 2021, and my husband had so kind of. I'm gonna tell the story kind of behind how everything went down. So 2020 hit, and at that point, I had a record deal and I had a booking agency. I was signed with Gretchen Wilson's Redneck Records, and I was signed with WME, the biggest booking agency in the world. And so, really, life was gravy for me as a musician. I would get gig offers coming in. I'd say yes or no, and they were usually big offers, and I'd made great money, and everything was pretty good. I was pretty spoiled because I had moved to Nashville, worked with Gretchen and her team and all that. And then I'd kind of gotten put in this situation with being signed to the record label that was so great because I didn't really know how the Nashville worked, which now being 10 years into this town, you know, I very well know. But so 2020 hit, and that was the roughest, the hardest year of my life. Lost my record deal because Gretchen was like, I need a break. She kind of went into retirement mode, and she was just doing her own thing. And then WME pretty much dropped me. And so I was like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? And this is kind of TMI, but at that time I just had 2 brutal miscarriages. And so
no.
it was like personal stuff, career stuff, you know, husband doing this new venture because he had just become a Green Beret. So we were dealing with that. It was just like all these things at once. And I just remember being like, I was completely at probably one of the lowest spots I'd ever been in life. I was like, I don't know what to do. And my husband saw that, and he was like, what do I need to do to help you? What do we need to do as a team? Like,
Awesome.
how can I fill these holes, these voids? Like, how can I take what they took from us and take that, and how can I do that? And I was like, I don't know. I was just in a really bad place at the time, but he just started little by little. He started trying. He changed his email, signature as like tour management. He sent out emails every day. He was like sending like 10 to 20 emails a day. He was just trying so hard to like build back whatever we had lost. And that's where it started. It started there. It started from him knowing his wife really, was in a place, and he was like, I can help you. We can do this together. And it started little by little. And then, big gigs started coming through. People started loving our story. They were like, military couple, country rising star, Gretchen Wilson founder, brought her to Nashville. People started really loving all that. So the Packers, he had tried to find who the entertainment booker was there. And
Okay.
go ahead. Yep. Yeah. And he was like, all right, let's try to get you an anthem. And I didn't even think about that at that point. I was like, an NFL anthem. I mean, cool, but like, I'm trying to like get shows, And he's
Yeah.
like, well, no, but these are like cool things that we could do to really, beef up the resume. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like,
Exposure is everything.
Mm-hmm.
oh, totally. And it's very like low overhead for us.
Yeah.
Like, it's just us flying out mostly a cappella. I had accompaniment this last time, but usually it's just us. So yeah. And so he finally got the entertainment contact and he just pitched me and we worked on a solid EPK, like an updated one. I'd been on tour with Leonard Skinner, Gretchen, Sarah Evans, like a bunch of bigger artists. So I had this great resume. He pitched it and they said yes. And they offered me a game and I was 8 months pregnant. And I was like, don't tell him I'm pregnant. Just say yes. I'll figure it out, man.
So that's
She was kicking me.
twice that you've done this and you've been pregnant. So is there like something in the water around you when you know you're going to sing the national anthem that all of a sudden like you get pregnant because you're about to be on national television? Or
You know what I think it is? I think it's God being like, okay, Ozzy got such a cool. So she got to be on my first NFL anthem. She was in my tummy. And Ozzy's my child.
Yeah.
She's she just turned 3 yesterday.
nice. Great age.
Yeah. And so, oh my God, it's so fun. So very pregnant with her. She got the national anthem with me. She was kicking me the whole time, could barely breathe. She hit me in high notes. I was like, let's go. We got to figure this out. Then she gets baptized by Big Kenny from Big and Rich and Gretchen Wilson.
How cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so at Mark Oswald's like famous TGL farms in like above Nashville and Goodlettsville area. Anyway, so she's gotten all this cool rock star stuff. I think God was like, we got to balance the scale out a little bit. I'm going to give this kid the NFL Thanksgiving Day anthem so that Ozzy can't brag later in life. So I don't know. That's just my,
And
my
you've done
little
it
2
three
cents.
times now, and all 3 times they've won. The Packers have won.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm the good luck charm. So if they make it to the Super Bowl ever,
I'm just saying, home game, national anthem, Green Bay Packers, just lock her down, contract.
You know what? This bodes well for us then, because if she's that much good luck for the Packers, then how much good luck is that going to be for our podcast? You know what I mean?
Right? But I'm
Hey!
see, that's not where I was going with it, right? I'm just going to be honest. Like, as soon as he
I like
started
that.
saying that, the good luck charm for them, I'm like, is this going to like a BetMGM kind of thing?
Right.
Oh, she's doing the national anthem. I'm betting Packers win. Yeah,
that'd be a good one for BetMGM. That'd be funny. Next thing we get a sponsorship from them.
What do they call that? Like, that's not insider trading. What do they call that when you know the outcome?
I don't know. It's just a good luck charm.
Insider knowledge, maybe?
Yeah,
Just
insider knowledge, something
superstitions.
like that. It's almost like
I guess you can bet on like the length of the national anthems. And so Matt was saying like there's some times where you can bet like how long the singers sing it or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't do that.
Yep.
You'll get like arrested.
I don't know. It was a very great
they
rendition. for
definitely
sure.
bet on pretty much everything.
Oh, they do. Yeah, there's a
Everything.
betting for everything out there. It's crazy.
So it would not surprise me if there was not a bet in Vegas somewhere on how long you were going to take to sing it. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, for sure.
Gambling.
So didn't you go? You got what two sound checks before the game?
Yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking just because the first sound check, I couldn't hear anything.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And it's one of those things, man, like they're not professional, like audio engineers that run music equipment. They're football dudes, you know,
Right.
like it's, you got your dude turning up the announcer, turning the announcer down. You're not like, he's probably not focused on like levels or, and I don't know if me turning things up and down in my ears is affecting the line in on the TV channel or so I'm like, I like my instruments hot, my voice low because I sing more in tune that way. I sing more true that way. If I'm the lead and I can't really hear the instruments, that really messes me up. So it was super nerve wracking in that sense because, the halftime performer, she got like a whole hour the night before. It took her time. We got like 7 minutes.
Whoa, that's crash course quick.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, so how long was it? Like your duration of singing the national anthem?
Yeah. The first take, I sang it probably at like 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And then they were like, hey, it needs to be below 250.
Oh, wow.
Or wait, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And they said it needs to be below 1 minute and 50 seconds. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna
They rush you.
this? It was crazy. So, and I turned around and the cello and fiddle player were like, are they allowed to say that? I was like, yeah, we are a tiny piece in this like monster establishment. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter how we do what we do to them, you know? So, and I'm going to say this too. They're the most amazing, sweet, beautiful people. Like, they are awesome. The Packers organization, so sweet. They spoil me every time. They bring me like cute gift bags and they treat me, they give me the moon. I get to hang out in the suite with all the alumni. You know, I get to hang out with, it is so cool. So I want to say that with saying all this, you know, it's not anything on them. It's just, if I would have had at least, 30 minutes, it's freezing cold. We could have figured out levels, mics, all that kind of stuff. It would have been a lot less stressful, but you know what? Running and gunning, we're just doing what we can.
At least it wasn't snowing like normal Lambo, feet of snow, especially Thanksgiving. You never know up there.
Yeah, it was still cold, but yeah, thank goodness it wasn't. It could have been way worse. And they have heaters on the field.
Yeah.
So,
Did you get
you can warm up.
Did you get a turkey leg?
I didn't. I heard that's a thing.
Yeah. It's supposed to be.
Like, that's the whole thing.
Tom Brady did it on TV when they were announcing the one game.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
like he even stopped. Like they brought it in for them to try and show it on air.
Yeah.
And then he literally took his headset off and he's like, I'm not waiting, I'm eating. So the other announcer had to continue to announce the game while Tom Brady was eating.
It's supposed to be a big thing for like Thanksgiving.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
After each game, like they cook hundreds of turkeys.
Tons of food.
Yeah. And big spreads, like all the players get their turkey legs and
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
They didn't even have any in the suite. So I'm wondering.
What?
It probably it's probably more for TV and for all that, you know.
It's possible.
Wow.
So what's next?
Either
So
that or
you
it
gonna
was
try to
so
get like
wrapped up.
Super Bowl or something? Like,
That would be so cool.
you know what I mean? Like be a Super Bowl halftime show. Like I could see that in your future, you know what I mean? Like if you're on this similar trajectory as many country music artists, that eventually you get to that. There's like a plateau at some point, but then you skyrocket again. So I feel like that's the next.
Yeah,
big
like Lainey,
NFL thing.
it happened really fast for Lainey Wilson.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'd say that, but I remember I was at Bragg with my husband and he was in the Q course. And I remember she had dropped her album with A Man You Ought to Know. And that was like, I want to say like 9 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago. And I remember I messaged her on Instagram. I was like, girl, this song is gold. Like, and it took 5 more years for that song to break to be her number one. And look at her now. She's literally the hottest thing in country music. So it can happen fast. You know, you could be singing to, what'd she say? She was singing to 70 people last year. And now she's singing the Super Bowl halftime show. So you never know.
Well, Dress Blues that you just had recently drop is a fantastic, it's an emotional song. I listened to that song and it's like, you can tell you have a lot of passion and emotion in all your songs, first of all, but that one specifically has a lot of ties to it. Do you want to speak on that a little bit? Like how you came up with that idea?
Yeah. Man, I feel like that song was writing itself for a long time in the back of my head and I just never really knew it. The Dress Blues uniform that you guys wear always stuck with me because, you know, I was always taking it to the dry cleaner. I was always making sure patches and everything were it was such a big deal in our family that uniform, you know, was just perfect and ready for all the events. And most of them happy events like balls and weddings and most of them things we were celebrating. But then, you know, you saw friends buried in them and your husband got in his Dress Blues for funerals. And it was one of those things that I remember as a creative songwriter being like, there is something to this. It's almost like that uniform needs its own song. It's almost like the uniform is like a person, like not really, but like
You personified it.
Yeah. And there is a journey and an evolution of it that needed to be told, I think. And, you know, man, I just feel like I think it was just writing itself in the back of my head all along. And one night I woke up at around like midnight, 1 a.m., and the song was like fully written in my head. It was crazy. It was like I woke up like out of a deep sleep, and the song, the melody was there, everything. And we had our child in the bed at the time, and my husband, they were both sleeping, and I look over, I'm like, I gotta like get out of bed and write this. So I literally got out of bed like a weirdo, like went in my robe. I'm like in my robe. I'm like grabbing my guitar and my piano and everything, and I'm like setting everything up. And for the first time ever too, I wrote on like actual paper with pen, which normally I'm like on my computer and an iPad, like a weird Gen X.
Yeah.
And
Little
like,
nerd.
yeah. And I just, for the first time, and I was like writing it on this record, and the record had like a World War II, like it was so crazy the way it all was happening. I felt like it was very meant to be, just the moment. There were like signs everywhere. The song came out in like 45 minutes and I was like goosebumps. I just remember sitting in my little writing room all alone. It was freezing cold. And I just remember being like, whoa, what just happened? Like this is crazy. And then the next morning, I pulled out the guitar, and I'm a horrible guitar player. Like I'm horrible. Like I'm like a strum the chord. I know all my chords on guitar, but my strum hand just sucks. And that's because like when you're singing, you're really like trying to play in all the rhythm and tempo and like melodic
There's all the focus
stuff,
that goes on that.
Yeah. And I think that when you focus a lot on guitar, if you are a vocalist, I think it does take away from your vocal ability, and unless you're so monster good. But I showed my husband the next day, and I, as a shitty guitar player, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, sun shining through the trees and the leaves are gone. The days stopped short and the nights grew long. And he started like tearing up. He knew where it was going. And he was like, he didn't even say a word. And usually he'll like kind of walk around and ignore me a little bit as I'm like showing him a new song. But he dead in his tracks stopped. And after I was done, he was like, whoa, that was the best thing you've ever written.
It's a very powerful, moving song.
Yes, it is.
I'm just like, wow, when I heard that one. And you sang that recently. Was that at the Blackstone? Was it Blackstone, or did you sing it at the Nashville Kids Rock? Or did you do both?
We sang it at both of them.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was a little intoxicated, so my brain trying to remember if it's misremembering or not. So I just want to reaffirm.
It sounded different though, because the second time there was like banjo and a shaker, and like it was way more full band the second time.
Okay.
I gotta say, from a personal note, the music at the Rock the Green Beret was super loud.
Oh my goodness! But that's such a small venue. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Because that's what blew my mind. Is you're on the third floor. It is like
those speakers are huge,
10-foot ceilings. It's not super big ceilings.
Yeah.
And I was at like I walk. I'm like,
go to the outside and it's still loud.
I'm going to the back of the bar just to see. I go all the way to the back of the bar, and I'm like, nope, no change.
Yeah, my ears were ringing when we left. I was like, my tinnitus is cranked to 10 now.
Well, and also the drums, like the way the acoustics are in the room, naturally, the drums just bounce off everything, and it's hard. They even have the glass over the drums, but that room just needs to be treated a little more.
A little bit. It's like bricks and hardwood floors. You know what I mean? Like there's no absorbing material at all. What is the best place that you have played to date that you it's like something you want to go back to all the time? Like what venue?
It's hard. It's super hard. Because there's the venue and then there's the people. You know, it's like the people mean more than the venue.
Okay, let's break it down then. Let's go with people first.
Oh, that's really hard. Then you're going to make me pick, and then
you're going to have to pick a favorite because, you're going to have 2 kids. So now you're going to have to figure that out because you can't have a favorite.
I will say that region-wise, I feel like the northern states just are so appreciative to be there, that they are very like attentive, and they don't care about what they look like when they're dancing. They sing, and they like also they seem like they go rehearse and practice your songs before the concert, which is so cool. That's like an old thing we used to do as kids, you know?
Yeah.
That is so lost, I feel like. So, man, like the northern part of the country kind of has my heart in that way.
When you say
But-
northern, are we talking like Midwestern, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Minnesota?
Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
kind
So
of.
we're talking like North Midwest. We're not talking like Northern East
Yeah.
Coast.
Not
We're not
No.
talking
like New
No,
York,
yeah.
Vermont,
yeah,
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably northern Midwest.
Okay.
There's also been other shows where the people have been just as great, like my hometown.
Yeah.
Everybody knows all the words to my songs in my hometown.
That's
You know,
awesome.
it's hard to beat that too.
Yeah.
So then Oregon has my heart, you know.
So
Man.
what's your favorite city? That's where I was going with this.
Nashville. Nashville is unlike any other. And I know it's become very metropolitan lately,
Mhm.
but man, Nashville is so, if you know the spots, it's so unique and special. And I don't care what anyone says, that magical thing of just country music being alive is still there. Man,
Yeah.
there's nothing cooler than Nashville.
You have Gretchen to thank for that because she basically coerced you into leaving your hometown and coming out this way. So
You did. Yeah, I just met her. I won a battle of the bands to open up for her, and I was brave and had enough drinks. I was like buying her guitar player drinks all night, like trying to get him to bring me back to meet her. And finally, I got the in to just poke my head out and be like, "Hey, can I come sit with you and just have a drink?" And she was like, "Sure, come on over." I like have my whole family. I got like my
Yeah.
mom and my dad, and
she's like, "This is
everybody's with me." And
awkward."
she's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And her daughter was there, and actually a bunch of her family was there too. We all sit around a picnic table, and one thing leads to another. We down a bottle of Jack Daniels. We're taking dips together.
You
Singing.
Yes.
Oh Lord, she
Yes.
is a out in the middle of nowhere
There
Oregon
we
girl.
go. There we go.
Look at that.
Occasionally,
It wasn't a Zen
it's
either.
okay.
It was probably Copenhagen or Kodak or
She would have
Yeah.
said it was a Zen if
It's
it
the
was a
fruity
Zen,
shit.
right?
that was
It-
the fruity stuff.
No, it was the fruity like
Oh
Copenhagen.
yeah,
The
I've seen
sweet
those, the
fruit one.
raspberry,
What, like
whatever,
the, like the apple
ones,
the
and-
apple, the
yeah,
citrus.
ugh.
I mean,
Citrus.
I'm gonna
yeah.
say we had a lot of girls in high school when they
Yeah.
came out with all those citrus and apple
Yeah.
and stuff that started
Yeah.
dipping the Skull
yeah,
brands.
but you grew up in Eastern Kentucky. That's expected.
Hey, but I'm just saying you could swap dip real quick.
Yeah, that's not the only thing you're
Honestly, like-
swapping.
You're not swapping spit, you're swapping dip.
There's nothing more attractive than a girl that smiles and she's got like a dip.
A big
in
old
her
chunk of
teeth.
tobacco in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, I'm just saying any real man would walk up and just use his own toothpick and like, let me get that, sweetheart.
And just use his tongue and lick it out of there.
Yeah.
In high school, my ex-boyfriend dipped, and we would sit on his couch watching TV with a big popcorn dish between us, just both spitting the dip and watching movies.
Oh, it's
So
like
do you
it's a
still-
modern day spittoon right
Yeah.
there.
Do you still dip?
I mean, I will if I'm like raging. If I'm partying, I'll like pack one.
All
but
right. Who is your inspiration when it comes to music? Is it more rock? Is it more blues? Is it more rockabilly? Or is there like a genre that like really influenced you as your creative mind was like developing as a young artist?
I mean, definitely a combination of lots of different genres. Like my dad was a rock and roller.
Okay.
My mom was a country music listener. So it's like I jump in the truck with dad and we're listening to Aerosmith, you know, Pink like the sheets that we lay on,
Mhm.
or like
Toys
even
in the
Kid
attic.
Rock. Yeah. Oh, that was a great
Little
album.
Janie's got a gun. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kid
Loving
Rock
an
was a big one too.
elevator.
My dad was obsessed with.
Yeah.
If you guys remember the Refreshments.
Oh
that was
yeah,
another one.
they were like a one-hit
Yeah.
wonder for a little bit.
Yeah, that we burned that CD out. And then my mom, Shania Twain,
Okay.
Dixie Chicks,
The Chicks,
Reba,
by the way, they're
the
just
Chicks.
yeah.
I know, I can't kick it. I feel so bad.
It's
When
like
I
me.
meet
I
them,
know.
I'm just gonna be
I
like-
call them the Indians, even though they're the Guardians, and everyone's like, "You mean the Guardians?" I'm like, "Oh, whatever."
I know when you're like used to that your entire
Yeah.
life, it's so hard to kick
It is hard.
And then just lots of influences. And then I grew up competing in jazz for like school functions, and then really into jazz.
Jazz hands.
Yeah.
Superstar. Jazz hands.
Yeah. And jazz is great for like learning improv and getting out of your shell and learning how to just hang with a band. Like you all meet, you've never played together before, you open up your real book and let's go. And so it was really good preparing me for being an entertainer. So, and then college, they made me do classical, and I fought back and ended up like getting the university to add jazz and contemporary styles and country music to their degree
curriculum,
like subset. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to leave if you don't. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, you sound like operatic. Yeah. You're like, no, thank you.
Do that. And I was like, and also, I'm not going to make any money later in life.
She's like, I hate to tell you this, but this is not the direction I want to go.
Yeah.
And you are about to be the weakest link. Yeah. So fix it or goodbye.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I had sent applications in to lots of Cali schools. I was like, I'm out. But they loved me, so they changed it. They just had me back for their keynote speaker. They're so great. Linfield University, shout out. Whoop, Wildcat.
So did you wear for the keynote speaker, is that like for their graduation?
It was just like a media festival.
Oh, you were thinking about the night cap and gown.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you wear like the crazy gown with the weird caps?
Oh, yeah. I've seen those where they have the big like feather and stuff.
Yeah.
You look like you're out there peacocking.
No, I was going to say, had she done this, I was going to find a photo and it was going to become public knowledge.
No, thank God. I don't think I'm that big enough of a deal to speak at their graduation.
Do you have a shameful thing that you enjoy, like watching soap operas or like eating a lot of tiramisu, or, you know, is there some like guilty pleasure that you have that people don't normally know about you?
Brownies are my weakness. Like I will eat the whole pan.
Like Ghirardelli brownies, or is there a specific?
I do love Ghirardelli. I got super into making my own with just flour that wasn't bleached or adding a bunch of chemicals to.
Not
homemade
spiced
is
up
nice.
ones with, you know, the green stuff in it.
Yeah, not the broccoli.
Yeah, no,
not the broccoli.
Just flour that's not sprayed with pesticides.
Okay.
So I gotta ask. Are you a corner brownie or you are the middle of the pan brownie?
Oh.
A corner brownie.
Because it's got that chewy part, you know what I mean?
You get the crunch with the
it's
chewiness.
Chewy and hard.
Yes, you get the crunch with the chewiness.
And then it's soft as you break, like as you go on, you know, you get like the multi-textures in there.
It's just like, yes.
Yes.
The center is just all gooey and just kind of like falls apart and crumbly. You're like, oh, all right, well, that's good. But
yeah, it's like it tastes good, but it's like, this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite meal, seafood wise, that you all serve at your restaurant?
Oh, it has to be specific to that restaurant?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Your favorite that is served at your restaurant.
They're going to get mad at me, but it's seasonal. They do crab taquitos seasonally. And it's like, if you like that crunchy taquito shell with the crab with that sweet chili sauce, oh, it's pretty good. And they put, I don't know, I remember what kind of cheese. It's a white cheese in there. Oh, man. I'm not a crab fan unless it's a crab taquito. I love crab taquitos. So, is that what you guys asked? Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite fish, though, back on that, is cod. Like, if I were to pick a fish, it'd be cod.
Interesting. What's a venue that you frequent more than Nashville? Like, where are you most requested? Because I know for a while you did the UK thing, which is crazy to me that like you had a UK tour, and I spent 3 years over there in England, which was crazy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's so cool over there.
It's really different. You know what I mean? Like they're big in the EDM.
Castles everywhere.
Yeah, there's castles everywhere, but they're in the EDM, so it's unique to have a country singer go out there and do country music.
There's a huge country scene, though.
Why does it feel like such a red room word?
A what?
EDM.
That's what it's called.
Were you about to ask me what a red room was?
Yes.
Like S&M?
Oh, that. BDSM.
Yeah.
Yeah, bondage. Yeah, all that. Yeah. I was like, red room. What?
Yeah.
Never heard it called that.
Like Rihanna's song. I
Have
wish I
anybody
was
asked you to
drinking.
do a cover of that? That'd be funny. Like, hey, I want you to do a Rihanna song.
No, what's the weirdest cover I've ever gotten asked to do? There's been some weird ones.
That's what I
but
want to know. Yeah, what is the weirdest cover?
Back in the day, when I sang on Broadway, I would try whatever. I'd be like, Backstreet Boys, fine. You pay me, tip me a 20.
You
I'll
heard it here
sing whatever
first.
you
She
want.
said she'd try anything.
What is the saying?
I mean, not now. Now I don't have to.
What is the saying? $20 is $20. Obviously, you can't drink right now, so I'm wanting to break it down. What is your beer of choice, and then what is your cocktail of choice
or bourbon of choice?
Well, we haven't got into the neat. That was the third one.
Okay.
So,
beer
of choice.
For beer, I like the refreshing, like Corona and lime. I like a fruit with a beer, like the grapefruit beer that they have at Disney. It's something with an H. I don't know.
So you like Shock Top?
I love
the Shock Top is more.
I don't.
Oh.
I don't like wheat beer.
Okay.
It doesn't set well with me for some reason.
What is the lemonade-y one? The summer shanty.
Leinenkugel
summer shanty.
Summer shandy.
I don't know why I don't like.
You don't like that
summer
one either?
shandy either.
Ooh, okay. We're discovering
I did like
things.
Blue Moon. Yeah, Blue Moon with orange, like 2 orange slices.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of fruit in it. It's weird, but I do think it's like a refreshing combo. Corona with like 2 or 3 limes. I'm weird like that.
Have you ever had a blood orange, like a blood orange IPA?
I have not.
You lost me at IPA. It's too hoppy.
But the orange that comes through, I think she might actually enjoy that.
She's almost leaning towards like a wine cooler or a twisted tea or apple cider, like a hard cider.
I don't like that. Nothing sugary. Like I don't like sugary.
Okay.
I like the natural fruit sugars, but I do not like processed sugar at all. So like I love red wine, but I don't like pink wine or white wine. I like the drier the better. So when it comes to beer, it's kind of like that's my palate too. It's weird.
Okay.
Margaritas are my favorite go-to cocktail, but I like them made from like the Mexico version where it's just literally lime, agave, tequila, like basic.
On the rocks?
Just basic. Yeah, like I like it. The sweet and sour, I cannot do that.
Okay.
I cannot do that super sugary thing. Old fashioned, love me an old fashioned. Like, so good. I got really into making them last year for Christmas. I was drunk like every night on old fashioned.
Do you have a preferred way to make your old fashioned?
Yeah, I like to make sure I have the andronous bitters or whatever.
Agnorous?
How do you say that?
Agnorous?
The bitters.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about. I'll put a little thing up here that says Agnorza or whatever that brand is.
Yeah. And then the, so I get that, a little simple syrup, an orange peel, and then whatever whiskey we got, and then cherry on top. And so a dash, the syrup, you put the ice cube in last, right? Yeah, you stir it all together. Oh, no. And then you put the whiskey in, and then you stir it with the ice cube because it opens it up or whatever. But yeah, I got really into making that like every night.
So do you prefer a whiskey with your old fashioned or a bourbon?
I like both. I really enjoy both. I like kind of like that rye.
So you like a higher rye content in your old fashioned. Okay.
So we're talking about her favorite.
If you do just pure bourbon, right? Do you prefer it in an old fashioned, on the rocks, or neat?
On the rocks. I like my bourbon like just a little colder than room temp. I do like an old fashioned always, so it's like hard to not want that.
Right. But you
not
don't
if they make it with the premix.
And you don't want the you don't like the chunked or crushed ice. You want like a cube or a sphere. Right?
Yeah, I have both in our fridge. So I'm always prepared.
Yeah, same.
Like that's been my running thing is going when we go to bars or restaurants, if I order an old fashioned and you bring me like the little random, the normal
those
ice
tiny ones? Yeah,
or the crushed ice, I'm like,
yeah, it's ruined.
Just take it back. Like I don't even want it.
This has been
unless you like water with your whiskey, but
right?
Yeah, it's been super informative, at least as far as learning more about you and about what you like for music, food, beer, bourbon, your men. And so we'd love
I'm
to
never
have you
gonna live
back.
that down
Yeah,
forever.
we'd love to have you back. Even if it's for
love
just
that.
a short episode where we do our Wet Your Whistle Wednesdays, where we just do a bourbon review.
Oh, we have to have her for a Wet Your Whistle. We have
People
to
would-
have her for a Wet Your Whistle.
People would
Let's
die
do
to
it.
have you for that. Do you have anything that people need to find you on social media or a website or anything like that? Like, what's the best way that people can like contact you or find you?
Yeah, I mean, on social media, you can find me. If you look up Jessie G, Jessie G, I'm usually Jessie G official is usually my like at tag. JessieGmusic.com is my website. I'm not as good at updating my website as I am on socials. Like, where I'm at, what I'm doing on Instagram and Facebook and
TikTok.
even X. I'm trying to get better
Ooh,
at
yeah.
X.
Okay.
Because I know that X is it might be probably the future of leading platform. So I'm trying to get better at that. But yeah, just TikTok too. I'm on all the things. YouTube. I post different things on every one. So go give me a follow on all the platforms. Send me a message, say hey, and then I'll follow you back. I love if someone's like, hey, I heard you on this podcast, or hey, I saw you at this show. I immediately follow them back because I'm like, odds are I'm going to see you again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I like creating that friendship and that relationship because this is my life and this is my world,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
y'all are like literally this is what makes my job keep going, or these things like the podcast, the radio stations, the people streaming the songs, buying the tickets. So for me, it's pretty amazing to have these opportunities. So thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. Like, seriously, thank you
Of
for
course.
coming on.
Yeah, dressed up in Christmas jammies and Santa hats.
Right?
Yeah, why would you not?
Pretend
You know
I'm
what I mean?
drinking.
I mean, we got all the Christmas cheer for everybody here.
She's got hot
I love
cocoa.
it.
Yeah, she's got hot cocoa. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait, guys. I'm literally
Are you?
it's really hard because I just very enjoy just the nightcap,
Yeah.
and
This actually brought up a great holiday question.
Okay.
Are you a eggnog person?
yes.
You want that like poached eggnog, that high end, the
Like,
the
you made it
adult
yourself eggnog.
Yeah,
Oh, what you're drinking right
Yeah.
now, that whiskey, when you were talking about it, I was like, that would be great in eggnog.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give a golf clap on
Yeah,
that
right.
one. Yes.
A golf clap.
Mhm.
The
Circling
Elijah
back.
Craig.
Yes, Elijah Craig toasted barrel.
Yeah. Jesse, we appreciate having you on here. This has been a wealth of fun.
Oh,
We
thank
hope
you
to
for
see you
having
guys.
me.
To see you do bigger, better, amazing things in your future, which we know is going to happen for sure. You're on the
Thank you.
upslope. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on here. It means the world to us because without you, we don't have anything to talk about with other people.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
but
we wish you would have been able to drink with us here. That would have been a lot more fun.
I know.
But
Next time
That's
we'll
the
do
Wet Your
another
Whistle,
one. And
yeah, but congratulations on your newborn that's to be and your expansion of your family and your new release and everything else that's going on. And for those of you that enjoyed the show, please come back, subscribe, like, share, go follow Jessie G. If you're not drinking bourbon, you probably should be. Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Woo! Cheers. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.